So all right, so like I said, I didn't save the downloaded one, so I'm just gonna go through really quick what it looks like. So I have a team, so mine's gonna be Emerald Realty Group. And then I'm gonna put broker license, which is 603392 for eXp. And then I don't have a spot for broker email here. So I'm gonna do save. Oh, it's not letting me. Okay, so then I'm gonna go in here and type in Texas broker at exprealty.com. You know what? I'm not gonna record this part. Or do y'all want this recorded for reference? Couple shrugs. Okay, I'll keep going. I'll be fast. 519. What are you doing?
Once I do it a couple of times, I'll remember.
Well, that's the beauty of these templates is you really don't have to once you create them because you'll already have them. I literally can send out a buyer's rep in about 15 minutes because all I have to do is update a couple pieces. So it's been super helpful, and I can write an offer in less than 20 minutes because I have my template done and there's just a couple things I have to change. Oh, now I gotta do all this. Okay, so now my IABS is done forever in my buyer's rep. Okay, so then when you can either scroll down to the next piece or you can click on it. You have to click twice to go to the page that you want. But see, it pre-fills from the IABS already pieces of it, so that's cool. Because this is our template, we are not going to fill out the client pieces because that's what we'll fill out when we're creating a new folder for a prospective client. This address, for some reason, it pulled my old house. You're supposed to put on here the address for eXp for the Austin address, which again is on that Texas page. Where did it go? It shows you where it is. We were looking at it earlier. It's somewhere in here. Contract some things. I don't know. It's in here somewhere. But it's that office address. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it, but that's, you can go in and edit that back to put it there. I have a physical office that I house with an insurance company, so that's what I put in.
So you either put eXp's office or your office?
Correct. If you have a physical office, not
if you
your
have
house.
a physical office. Okay.
Yeah, not your house.
Okay.
Originally, I was told by our managing broker when I first joined that you had to put the Austin address. But I've been told since and have not been corrected on my compliance docs that putting this address is okay. So, I mean, if they would have told me to correct it, I would, but at this point they have not, so I don't fuss it. And then phone number, I put my cell because this is a client, so I want them to be able to reach me. I fill out my email. I don't really give out a fax number because I don't really use it. The majority of my business at this point is Houston, so this is where I put market area. So I just put greater Houston and surrounding areas. If they specifically said, like, it's a rare instance, but let's say they have an agent that they're working with in Harris County and they want you for Montgomery County or Waller or whatever, then you can put a specific county to cover the territory. And then term, at the start of the year, I go in here and make it January 1 so that I don't have to backtrack to, At one point I didn't update for like 2 years. So when I would set a buyer's rep, it would have like January 2019 and it would be like November 2021. So at the start of the year, just go back and update it, make sure your IABS is correct. But let's just say I'll start here for today. Buyer's reps, I typically put 3 months. That's about how long a client is typically onboarded, between getting ready to look at a property, get actively searching, and then under contract. And then you just add that here, make sure to click OK, and it'll fill that box in. Down here, the agreement is between. It will fill this in when you put a client in this box here, so that'll be auto-filled. This box here is for if they are working with a relocation company that is part of the decision making. Intermediary, and I'm sorry, y'all, we have to go through it quick because there's a lot of these to go through. So put a pin if you have questions and we'll circle back. Intermediary, this is for not just you representing buyer and seller. This is for eXp representing buyer and seller. So if you do not check this box on your buyer's rep, you cannot show this client any listing by any eXp agent. So that is super critical. Again, this will be pre-filled. Commission, I've had this conversation with a couple of y'all, but I'll just go through it one more time. I put 0%. And the reason being is if for some reason I'm showing a property and they are only offering 2.5%, if I put in 3, then I am obligating my client to pay the difference. Now, if you want to do that, by all means, go for it. It is totally up to you, at your discretion. I don't, because even when I've taken that cut with a buyer, it has come back tenfold to pay off in some way, whether that's they relisted with me, they bought another property. Excuse me.
So do you go back?
Go ahead.
Do you go back and fill it in to the correct amount depending on which property, or no?
No.
So it'll be on your buyers, on the agreement, though, the contract.
It goes on your contract what you're going to get paid.
Right.
The difference is here, if we read it, sorry, that tickle really got me. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It says that the client will pay. So if you look, a broker will seek to obtain payment of this commission specified from the seller, landlord, or agents. If such persons refuse or fail to pay the amount specified, client will pay broker the amount specified less any amounts from the broker receives from seller, landlord, or agent.
Okay.
So by putting 0, we're not saying I'm going to get paid 0. It's saying my client is obligated to pay me 0.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Here for new construction, I put in fee equal to 3%, thank you, of sales price. That still kind of obligates the client. I've gone back and forth with like our Trek attorneys and even the broker. You can put that in here. Either way, I would still have to pursue legal action if I were to make my client pay that. For example, there's a builder in town that only offers 2%. I would have to pursue legal action to get the 1% difference from my client. Again, personally, I like to operate from a sense of abundance. So I don't go after my client for that. I know down the road it's going to pay off eventually. And honestly, it's just not worth my time to fight a client over 0.5 or 1% of something. In that instance, when they're under contract or in love with a property or whatever. So this spot is for if we used to charge a transaction fee with my old brokerage. So that would go in here, explaining when that fee is due and how much it was. I've been in rooms before where buyer's agents would charge like $500 up front, and then they would credit it if the client made it to closing. And that was more so that they weren't working for free until they closed. Again, I'm not a fan of them, but I share it because if that's how you want to operate your business, this is where it goes. Protection period, I put in 60 days. So this is saying that when this timeline for the buyer's rep ends, I am protected from any properties I showed them for 60 days after the end of this contract, so long as they don't re-sign with another realtor. County, I just leave it as Texas because otherwise I have to change it with wherever they're searching. I've never gotten in trouble for it. If you want to go back and you know they're only going to be in Montgomery County, then go ahead and change it to Montgomery or Harris or whatever they're looking in. But because of the fine line between like where Montgomery County ends in the Woodlands to where it begins in Spring and Magnolia, I just don't deal with it on that Montgomery Harris line, so I just leave it. And then you want to check off the boxes that you know are going to apply that are going to be part of the buyer's rep. So we've got information about brokerage services. We've got the concerning property insurance, general information. I used to add the flood hazard one, but I only do that now if the property is in a floodplain. Get a home inspection, and then we add in wire fraud warning. 3, 4, 5, 6 wire fraud warning, eXp ABA, oops, ABA, and I just do home warranty disclosure because you run out of room. It makes it smaller, which I really like. Again, special provisions, if there were certain notes you were going to put in here, then that's where it would go. Again, this auto populates. And because we filled out our IABS, this is already here. So you're going to do broker associate signature so that you can sign it. And then when you fill out page 1 of the buyer's rep, your client's names will automatically fill in here. So I know I went through that really quick, but any questions on this buyer's rep? Okay. So next, I put in order. Let's see, I do the general info next. And then I do the wire fraud, the information about property insurance, the home inspection, then the disclosure of home warranty relationship, and the eXp ABA. So for the general info, this is the one of the ones I was talking about, that it says like the title is information notice to buyers and sellers. So it's the exact same verbiage, all 5 pages. When you fill in your client name here, it should auto populate here. Sometimes it doesn't. So when you're filling it out for a specific client, just make sure to put their name on it. And then it'll auto populate for the rest of the pages for that packet. And then here, so remember I said it'll say buyer or seller. Sometimes the version of it, it'll say buyer, or seller, depending on which version you clicked on. Did someone have a question, or it was just a hot mic? Okay. Any questions on that general info section? Super easy. I kind of joke with them. I'm like, these are some really common verbiage in real estate that we'll hear throughout the transaction. If you have any trouble sleeping at night, this is a great tool to put yourself to sleep, and just kind of leave it at that. So then next is the wire fraud warning. I just explained, yeah.
I have a quick question on this because I saw somewhere that there was an eXp wire fraud notice and then there's the wire fraud warning. Should we be using both, or does it matter one or the other?
They're basically the same thing. eXp created their own version. I'm assuming for other states that their state realtor group did not create it. Texas created this one, so this is what I use. When I upload it to Skyslope, I haven't gotten any rejection for it. I've never used the eXp one. Does that answer your question, Patty?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. Have y'all ever seen these mini topos? They're like the cutest thing. So on this wire fraud, I just explained to them wire fraud is on the rise. I will never ask you for your social security number, bank account information, anything like that. If you receive something like that from me, whether it's email, text messages, whatever, it is fraud. Do not send it. Do not reply to it. Do not click on the links. When they're wiring in their earnest money or option fee or the funds for closing, I tell them the title company is going to email you a through like a safe portal, their wiring instructions. When you receive it, call them before you wire it to confirm that is the correct routing number. That way they don't send their money to a non-existent, offshore bank account that has nothing to do with our closing, and now they're out 80K. All good
That
there?
would be awful.
Absolutely awful. I've never had a client that happened to, knock on wood. But there was a title company that I used a while back that they got hacked somehow. And so that was rough.
Katie.
So go ahead.
I'm sorry. You said that we had to upload this one into Skyslope.
Yes, all of these will be uploaded into Skyslope, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit.
Okay.
Make sure, because we're doing a buyer packet, that the buyer boxes are checked.
Right.
And then information about property insurance. Again, this is just more verbiage. It explains either on the buyer side why they are required to get property insurance, especially if they're financing, if they're doing cash, why it's important to have insurance on their property. When you send it for signatures, it'll auto-populate a signature spot for them. This one just says why it's important to get a home inspection. When you send it for signatures, it'll require them in Skyslope in the signature platform to just initial that they received it, which is all that they're acknowledging. And then this is the home warranty one. So it went a little nuts. So in this case, we're on the buyer side. So I don't need any of that. So on the left here is other agent. So this is the buyer side, listing. This is the listing side. We're creating our listing pack or our buyer's packet. So that's on this side. Now, this is what it needs to say for your buyer's packet, okay? So we're going to check other broker. And then in here, we're going to put America's preferred home warranty. And then are compensated for, and we're going to put marketing. And then that's it. That's all that's needed on this page. Super simple. And I'll leave that for a second so y'all can type it in. Everybody good there? Okay. So next is the ABA. This one, there's nothing to fill out. It does not even have fillable spots. You could, every property that you submit an offer, add the address and the date that it's there. I literally have never had compliance correct me. I just leave it blank. I send it with my buyer's rep and I have them sign. If there's two parties, I have them sign both of them. If it's one guy or one girl, I just have them sign one side. And it hasn't been an issue. I explained to them, these are the companies that eXp is partnered with. You are not required to use them, but we do have to disclose how the relationship is paired. And that's it. So then my template is done. Do y'all have any questions about what I filled in for blanks? Okay, so now we're going to click. This is the one spot that you do have to make sure to save it. So click Save Template, and you can always go back and edit it. You just click the three dots and click Edit, or you can just click on it. But what I want to show you how to send this to a client and how quickly it is once you have this template created. So we're going to go to Files. You can see I've been playing with them a couple times. Here's a seller one. So now we're on the. You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, send it to me.
Okay. So I'm going to go to Create New File. And I'm representing the buyer. If they were an LLC or an LP or sole proprietor or whatever, then you would click Entity and it changes kind of how you fill this out. But Shayla wants me to send it to her, so I'm going to send it to her real quick. Did I do that right? Or is it E and then A at the end? It's the opposite, isn't it? There it is. And then VERRET.
2 T's.
2 T's. Okay.
I was muted.
And then email VERRETT.
SA@gmail.com. We'll just do it that way since you started.
Oh, I could have done the EXP. Oh,
I know.
that would have been easier since I got it right in front of me. You can connect to the MLS. I haven't done that yet because I work in 2 MLSs, so I haven't felt the need to play with it. If you already know what address you're going to be using or writing an offer for, you can include that here. I typically skip this part because it auto-populates it in some places, and just me knowing what I want my template to say, I just don't play with it.
Okay.
How would you like to name your file? There's 2 ways that you can do this. Again, you can name it by address. And honestly, when I'm doing a listing, I name it by address. When I'm doing a buyer, I do primary client, and it automatically fills in whatever the first set of names is that I put here. Okay. And then you come down and you already have your template. So now you can apply it. So I'm going to pick the mentee one that we just did. You can see I have my other one, both are 8 forms. So we're good there. And then you click create. So here's all 8 of the documents that we just made. I do wish that there was a select all button, but that's not end all be all. We take the 10 seconds and we go through and click all of these things. And then we go down here and we click fill and send. So that brings you here to the template you already made. So as you can see, this is done. I go to my buyer's rep. I fill in all of Shaylee's stuff. Address, phone number. It already had her email. If she had a partner that was doing the purchase with her, it would put that name here, as well as their email, like kind of on this half. And then I just go through and change anything that's part of my template. So majority of the time we are doing Greater Houston. If it's a BCS client, then I'll just change this really quick to Bryan College Station and surrounding areas. I click whatever today's day is, and then I change it to 3 months from now. And I always do the end of the month. No one's really cared before. See how it auto-populated her name. She's not with a reload company. I already have intermediary checked. Broker fees is already filled out. If she works with a builder, it's already filled out. I don't have any other. I don't need to change my 60 days. I can put it accounting, but again, I don't really care to. I already have the additional addenda written in. Her name's populated. All of this is here. Boom, that's done. General info, I just scroll through to make sure nothing got deleted. So since we already have her on that page 1 of the buyer's rep, see how her name is already populated here. So I don't have to do anything for these 5 pages. So that's cool. And then wire fraud, same thing, don't have to do anything. Property insurance, I make sure it's in the packet. It doesn't show it here, but I'll show you where it's already added when we send it to her to sign. Property inspection, don't have to do anything. ABA, we don't do anything here. And then the disclosure of relationship is already filled out. So see how quick that was to create it, because I already have my template done.
Right.
Any questions on filling this out at this point? Okay, so now I'm going to go to prepare signature. Envelope name. This is in her section, and I'll reference it in a second. But in her file from now on, right, if we think of them like mini files, it's going to have her name because that's how I created the file to be. Remember, I named it by primary client, but this particular packet in the file, I want to name. So I'm going to name it buyer rep and compliance docs, just so for quick reference, I can find it. She needs to sign, but I also need to sign. So I'm going to change mine to needs to sign. And then I'm just going to hit next. And it automatically brings us into the digital signing section, okay? As it thinks about it. Okay, so it's got all of our docs. It automatically puts Shaylee as the first part of it. And then we're just gonna scroll through and make sure all of the signatures and stuff are where they need to be, because we already know it's filled out correctly, okay? So you can see it's got her initials, it's got a date, we're good. Both of our initials. And the more that y'all do this, you'll know like where each spot is needed. Like I know on a buyer's rep, the first 4 pages, you only need an initial by each person, and page 5, you need a signature. Seller's disclosure, it's 6 pages. There's an initial on every page. And then on page 6, they have to initial and sign. That's not part of this packet, but all that to say, as you do deals and are doing this over and over and over, you'll know mentally where these spots need to be. So again, initials, signature, we're good. There's nothing on the general info until the 5th page. Signature, wire fraud, signature, property insurance, per signature, home inspection, initials. And then this is, again, the tricky one, the ABA. So this is where we do have to add info, okay? So we make sure that Shaylee's name is here. We're gonna click signature, click the box. You can move it to perfectly align. It's totally up to you. Then we're gonna do full name. And then we're gonna do date. Boom, done. If I needed to add mine, I would just click here, change it to my name, and then I would go in and click wherever I needed to assign it. Any questions on how to add that info? Okay. And then disclosure of home warranty, for some reason it put this out of order, but it already established our signatures anyways. So any questions about this signature portion of it? Okay, so then we're gonna hit send. As you're writing out your buyer process, I would highly recommend creating some kind of like copy, subject line, and email message. I'm going to show y'all really quick what mine looks like, just because to give you an idea of what it looks like, because I feel like, I mean, it's not super important, but I do think it makes it a little more personal. Proof of funds. Review, here it is. So subject line, buyer representation docs to sign. And then I have here, hello, as promised, da, 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 da. Boom. And then I click send. If your email that you put as the buyer's agent is the same as your Skyslope login, you'll actually have a box here that says sign now for your portion of it. If like mine, you use 2 different emails for it, like one that you log in versus one that your email is, then it's not going to give you that option. But if you go back and look, let's pull up my actual email. I already have an email for me to sign and see how here's the subject line so they can find it. I tell them they're not going to get it from me. It's going to come from Skyslope. But that being said, it still showed that it came from me. But that way, when they're searching for it, they can specifically find the packet, and then they'll click get started. And then it says, you know, basically this electronic signature is valid as far as holding you responsible for what you're signing. Start, and then they just go through and click through. Super simple. You can pick whatever signature, or you can draw it. I do not like drawing with the mouse, so just click through, so on and so forth. And then when you're done, you click through really fast, finish signing. You can download them there, but she hasn't signed yet, so they're not complete, so I don't bother. So I delete that email, but then it lets me know, hey, you've signed your packet. And then it'll let me know when she's done signing, and it will send a copy to her and I saying that all docs have been signed and the packet's complete. So what I also wanted to show you, so again, remember this is where all of my clients are. So I go to hers, here's all of the forms. Well, here envelopes, I can see this is what I sent her. So I can check to see, okay, one of us is signed. Well, obviously that's me. Let's say she said, I don't see the email, I can't find it, and you need to remind her. Click this little 3-dot hamburger. You go resend envelope. It pulls up a box. She's in the first group, and then I hit send reminder and it resends the packet to her. I also tell them to check their spam just because you never know what kind of protections their email has, and it may go to their spam folder. 9 times out of 10, if they're not getting it, I typed their email in wrong. I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't done that because I 100% have. But we only have a couple minutes left for this, so I wanted to show you something really fast, and then we'll maybe do another Skyslope over contract docs and another one over listing templates. But let's say the buyer's rep is done and Shaylee wanted to submit an offer. So I don't have to create a new packet. I can keep all of it within her envelope. So what I do is I go to apply template, and then I click on whichever version of buying she's going to be doing. So if she's doing a single family or a townhouse, I click on that template packet that, again, we'll do on another day, click apply, and it adds in all of those docs. So you don't have to have multiple packets. That's one of the things I didn't like about zip forms. I had to have a buyer's rep packet and then a purchase packet and all of these things. It was a pain in the butt. And so then I just go through, and again, I click when I'm writing my offer, what are the docs that I need, and then move on from there. Does that make sense, y'all? Y'all good? Do you want me to hit any questions on that? We've got about 7.5 minutes before it kicks us out again. I know it was a lot. That's why I'm recording it, so y'all have access to go back through it again.
Super helpful, Katie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad.
Yeah, this is exactly what I
Thank
needed
you.
because I was following a bunch of different videos and I have all kinds of wacky stuff set up from those videos that I need to delete now.
No, you're good. I really wanted to, I can't stress enough how helpful this main link is for this Texas welcome guide. It's got everything that you need as a Texas agent. It's a lot of links, so it can get daunting, but majority of the time when y'all ask me a question, if I don't know the answer, this is where I'm going to find it. And if I can't find it there, then I go to eXp World and either say hey, how do I handle this? Or if it's something that I'm not supposed to talk to y'all about, let's say it's something broker specific, then I'll refer y'all to eXp World so that you can get a specific answer for whatever it is. So, but that's pretty much the gist of it.
Hey, Katie, real quick,
Go for it.
you mentioned one time that you are considering maybe doing a half-day training on contracts alone. Have you thought any more about that? Like renting out one of those spaces and we can contribute to the cost, but that would be so great.
Yeah, I can see. The only thing I need to check on is, as a mentor, I feel like I'm allowed to do that, but in the past, it had to be broker sanctioned, and I don't know if that's still the case with eXp. But I will definitely look into if I'm allowed to do that. Even if I have to get some kind of credit or certification to give y'all a CE hour for it, then I'll figure it out. But I'll make a note to ask that.
The videos though that are posted in that video library on contracts, Tony King has one where he walks through the contracts and it's really helpful, and the addendums.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would say go there first. That way Katie's not having to duplicate efforts.
I appreciate that, Patty. I know we were talking about it earlier. So this Texas Welcome Center, this is the main page. It's right here, Marcy. So that video contract training class. So here's the 1 to 4, here's the appraisal addendum, here's third party. And as they do it, they'll continue to add videos to it to be helpful.
Okay, great. Being a new agent and having someone that has found these videos, it's so helpful to hear. So thank y'all so much.
Yeah, and of course, I don't mind training on it, but at the same time, I don't want to reinvent the wheel if there's someone else that does it well.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's sometimes where y'all ask me questions, and I've had in the past, and I think more so it was just they were super stressed. but I told them like, hey, go check out blah, 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 blah. And I directed them to a video like this. And it wasn't because, you know, I didn't want to help. It was just, I feel like this was done so well that it was better for them to watch the video, see if they still had questions, and then come back to me with it.
Yeah, well, a good leader is a good delegator. So that's awesome.
I'm trying. I'm a recovering control freak is what I tell people. So cool. Y'all got any other questions about the buyer's rep side of it?
No, that was super helpful. So for template files, we have a buyer's rep one, and then we'll
Yeah,
have,
I'll show
can you
you.
list which ones we need to pull together?
Yep, I'll show you which ones. Let me get rid of this one so that it's not confusing. So your buyer's rep compliance docs, your seller listing docs, and you actually need seller 1 to 4 family listing, and then you need seller condo listing. There's an additional addendum that goes with the condo listing. Long story, but it goes with it. So that's a whole separate packet. And then I've got buyer 1 to 4 family. So from y'all's licensing classes, that's single family homes, townhomes, not condos, because condos operate very differently. So single family, which is like our typical traditional house. Townhomes doesn't necessarily mean it's attached. Townhomes, they can be attached side by side, but not up and down. Townhomes, you own the land that you're on, so you will never have anybody under you. You will never have anybody over you. Condos, you do not own the land that you're on, so you can have 4 floors and only own one of them. So that's a whole separate packet. And then unimproved land. I haven't had, since I've been with eXp on my own team, I haven't had more than 10 acres. So unimproved land less than 10 acres. And then there's a whole separate packet, which I just haven't felt the need to make yet, which is more than 10 acres. And that one's a farm and ranch buyer. That contract's a little different. So those are the main ones that I use. There's, of course, I'm sure other random ones you can add. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is 1 to 4. That includes duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. So those all go under this same 1 to 4 contract set.
Could you like just screenshot what's inside or open them up and let us screenshot what's in?
Yeah, we can scroll through them real fast. Y'all have to go
I
back
just
to the video.
screenshot them. So that way I'll have them later.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. So we just did buyer's rep. So here's 1 to 4. If y'all want to screenshot that. Oh, let me do this.
What's in it? I don't know which one this is. Oh, okay. Yeah, sellers. Okay.
Here we go. I got it. So
Okay.
there's 1 to 4. I'll send y'all these images. Then we've got buyer 1 to 4.
Thank you.
Yep. And then condo, again, this one's a little bit different. So it's just basically the condo contract is different from the 1 to 4 contract. And the reason being is all condos have an established HOA. It's not a question of if they have an HOA. And so it's built into their contract, whereas for the single family 1 to 4, it's a separate addendum. So that's the difference between those.
Okay.
And I don't know if I actually screenshot this one, so we'll do it really quick. And then the last one is the unimproved land. So I'll send all of those to y'all as images. Cool.
Oh, thank you.
That's perfect. Maybe before our next session like this, we're all committed to setting all those up with the templates you've given us, so that we have that, and then you can just quickly go through and maybe tell us which ones we need to pre-populate with specific